Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, everybody. Good to see you again. This is the Blueprint. Hey, I'm your guest. I'm your host. Listen, Pastor David B. Mills. I'm excited about what's going on. Listen, the Blueprint is a male empowerment for empowering men. What we do literally is that we literally help men in the areas of relationship, leadership, the idea of finances, as well as being a parent. And so we want to pour into men. Our goal is to build men in this generation and for the next one. The way we're going to do it is simply this. We have this monthly or bi-monthly podcast we put out that you can watch, get empowered, get strengthened, and get built up, and get tools that you can build with, instruction you can build with, because it's the blueprint. And then also what we do too is that we literally have a quarterly in-person meeting that we bring in trainers and leaders and business owners and coaches that can help build the men up, that literally become, and we meet somewhere in the region, build them up. And it's a powerful time for leadership and growth and the ideal of our world and our life. Then lastly, after that, of course, we got Facebook page and the ideal of the blueprint. You can join us on that. And every day you'll get an empowering quote or strengthen or something that will encourage your heart. Then we also have the ideal of that also on the ideal of Instagram also. It's on the blueprint underscore RLF, relationships, leadership, and finances. It'll bless your life. If you follow us, you continue to get encouraged and strengthened, because that's what all of us as men, we really do need. My name again is Dr. David B. Mills. I've been married for 33 and a half years. I'm excited. I got a wife for life and girl for my world. Her name is Bernadette. Then I'm also excited to be the pastor through the Word Church. Yes, right. The pastor of the church also 26 years. Then I got 5 millennial phenomenal kids that are all incredible. I'm trying to tell you, authors, and they are leaders, business owners, everything. And today we start our second session in the ideal of the blueprint, giving you things to build with, and the ideal of our guests. Our next guest is Mr. Keon Hill. We're going to bring him in and we're going to have a powerful discussion on what it is. Hello, Mr. Keon Hill. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, man? I'm super
Uh,
honored to be here.
Listen, man, I want to say thank you, first of all. Thank you for being here. I'm honored and humbled, man. I celebrate who you are in the kingdom, what God is doing in your life, and you take care of my daughter. And so you, my son in love. I appreciate you, man of God. Hallelujah. All
Look,
right.
I get a couple bonus points, right? I get a couple
Oh,
bonus points.
yes, you do, brother. Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. You get extra. You get extra, man, without a doubt. Listen, man, I'm excited, man, to be able to have this time of the blueprint to be able to do what we do. We're building up men in the areas of relationship, finances, the ideal of parenting. We're building them up in those places as well as finances, and the ideal of all those areas that sometimes as men we don't get. And so, but we need somewhere to have it. I don't think that we get it in the locker room. I don't even think we get it in the boardroom. I don't think we get it. But we get some tools for our life to be able to build with. And I believe that the blueprint is the word of God, that it builds for our life. It helps us to understand what God has laid out for us and what our role is, and understand our purpose in life to be able to fulfill it. So, man, thank you again for being with us. And I want to celebrate you for who you are and the impact you're making, man. Incredible one. I mean that.
I appreciate that. That means the world.
Listen, I want to just give you your professional introduction right now. All right. All right. Keon Hill is born and raised in Prince George County of Maryland, happily married to his wife, Destiny Hill. They both enjoy trying new restaurants, watching basketball, serving at their home church together. He's earned his bachelor's of science from Howard University in human development 2016. Keon also furthered his education Howard by obtaining a master's degree from the School of Psychology and Counseling Services. This empowered him to have cutting edge approach to educational excellence, in which he has brought multiple innovative ideals to New Chapel Christian Academy, also where he currently serves as the principal. That's right, the principal, with a strong foundation of his favorite verse, Matthew 6:33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. All these other things shall be added unto you. He lives by the motto of dream big and keep God first. Welcome in, man of God.
Again, I'm super honored to be here. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the conversation. We always have great conversations, so I know it's gonna be another great one.
Oh yeah, man, I'm hyped. So here's my thing. My first question is going to be this: is going to be when you look at the canvas of manhood right now, what do you think of? What makes you think of, man?
Oh man, he's starting off strong. Okay.
Hey, ain't no need to warm up. We're in a rough place right
Yeah.
now.
But I have a quote that I've been studying. One of my favorite authors is Jason Wilson. He talks about how peace has to be in us before it can be around us. And I just think there's a lot of men who are struggling internally.
Mm-hmm.
And a favorite conversation of mine is therapy. Like I'm a big advocate for therapy, or just
Man.
having somebody you can talk to, a mentor, somebody who you can share. I just think a lot of men are suffering inside, and nobody knows what's going on. You might carry it well, but it's still heavy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I celebrate you, man, and I think, man, you're a major proponent of it, and I want to celebrate your boldness to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think the reality of it is that many times and for many generations we've been stuck with some stuff that we just can't get out.
Yeah.
We won't want to deal with it or address it, or didn't even know or have a safe place to go with it. And that's some of the challenge
That's
too.
the
We
biggest
didn't
thing.
know what to do with it, and so my challenge has been. I'm gonna tell you straight up. From this last event that we just came from, man, I think I wrote two ebooks, and I got a
Oh,
whole new book left. I got one on rope, man, from malehood to manhood, because what we don't tell people is this is a process. You know what I mean? You come here as a male, but you're going to have to become a man. Paul said it. He said, "Listen, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I understood as a child, but when I became a man."
yeah.
Which means there had to be a process. You had to get somebody had to help you, and it don't automatically show up, and it's automatic. But we got to walk through this thing. And I think I'm finding that many times with men, the blessing that you have is that you had a picture of your future in front of you. I didn't have that. When men don't have that, we end up doing what I call 3 C's. We go carnal, we go consumer, and we go conqueror. And so we spend our life being carnal, or we spend our life being, a consumer of people, things, and anything we can get. Or we have this conquer thing. But God sent us to be cultivators.
Yeah.
When he,
That's good.
when he dropped Adam inside that garden, man, he cultivates the garden so he can learn how to cultivate a woman. So then he can cultivate some children. So if I'm not cultivated, man, I'm messing some stuff up. But if I don't know that, then I'll spend my life as a conqueror or a consumer. And I'll bring chaos to everything rather than build it up. So in this area of manhood, help me with this. My question is this: What would you say is the issue, or what do you see the ideal of relationships when it comes to men, particularly with their relationship with their wives or girlfriends? What do you see in those areas?
I mean, I hate to sound like uh kind of saying the same thing, but man, I really just think it goes back to just like that healing that takes place inside before, like
Mm,
before you can really love somebody else, like you really got to love yourself. And I
come
think
on.
some of the things that we've gone through just in our past, it really prohibits us from actually experiencing the true love that God has for us for relationships. So I just think there has to be an intentionality around just doing some work inner, like some inner work. You know what I'm saying? Because I think like, for example, before I met Destiny, I felt that like a lot of the things that I struggled with was my desire or need to please people,
Mm,
or need to be like seen, or like I struggle with like being like okay with myself. Like I didn't go out to eat by myself, or I didn't do certain things by myself because like I had some inner stuff that I just wasn't okay with.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now is that I just think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I just really think it's imperative and intentional for us men. Because again, like you said, we don't talk about these things. Like we don't have these conversations, which is why I think the blueprint is so critical and necessary for generations to come. Because I think there just needs to be representation of what a
Mm,
man looks like, what a whole man looks like, what a man who loves
mm.
himself and loves his people around him. A man who values God, put God's first. Like there needs to be a consistency around that, and I don't think we've seen that often.
Wow, I think I celebrate you, man, and I think that ideal, man, of really making that consistency is key. And I think the ideal of that relationship, and then like you said, dealing with the real issues of our own life, and really willing to deal with whether it's dysfunction, diversion, or damage. Because if we don't, we're gonna end up leaving what I call collateral damage.
Yeah.
And so that's every chick we've been with, every person
Yep.
we come in contact with, all this
Yep.
kind of stuff. Now, you wonder why that chick's so messed up when you got married to her. She's like, no, she's been through all this collateral damage of everybody else. Because they didn't know what they was doing. And whenever, because I think wherever purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
That's good right there.
So abuse is
That's good.
automatically going to happen because I don't know what the purpose of a woman is. I don't know what the purpose of a wife is, a mother is. I don't even know why you're here. And so I become selfish and self-centered in the ideal of what I can have and what I can do. And I end up, causing confusion rather than being the cultivator and king that I should be. But I got to find it somewhere, and I got to know that, and I got to be around people. And I know for me, what helped me transition was I got saved, and when I got saved, Christ came into my life. I asked him to save me. He saved me. Then I went to church. The church that I went to really messed me up because I had never seen men. Matter of fact, I got messed up with two things. I was born on the west side of Chester, and in Chester is got the west side and the east side. That's all it really got. So I did my Will Smith move, right? My mama in the 8th grade got tired of me, and I got tired of her, and she just sent me to my uncle's house. I got to the east side, It was different. And I'll tell you what really messed me up. A whole lot of things messed me up. But what really shifted my mind about what manhood looked like was my uncle was there.
Yeah.
And he was there every day.
Different.
When I grew up around families of 300 families, Keon, and it was only 4 husbands. Everybody had an uncle that was not their uncle. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
My whole picture of manhood was messed up. My whole foundation was messed up and jacked up. But then when I got there, I was like, the dude is here every day. He shows up, he work, he go to work. He was a high school teacher. He loves one wife. Only seen him with one woman. I'm like, this is different. What is going on with him? And he began to change it. But then when I got saved and went to church, I got around some men that were different, man.
Yes,
This man was like, nah, bro, you need this thing called character. I was like, how you spell it? I ain't have it. I ain't know, man. I just say I was from the hood. What is that? What do you mean?
Right.
But I think that's part of being around other cultivators and being around mentors and leaders and people that can help you in the gaps of our life so that we can close them and become everything God has caused us to be. And so I think it's having to unlearn what I call drama, toxic, and chaos, and then to do something healthy and do something godly.
Pops, how many people have that same story?
Too many.
How many people have not seen a healthy representation of what a man looks like? Like how many of it? It's so many people, man. It's sad.
And I know you know, because what was really intriguing to me, man, really was I was, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was stuck in fear for the first 4 years. I'm gonna tell you why. When we came in a relationship, because I didn't know if I could do it. It had nothing to do with Jesus. It had nothing to do with Jesus. It had to do with David. I'm like, oh my God. You want me to lead a family, love this woman. Oh my God, these children are here. Okay, all right. Help me through this, because I haven't done it. I haven't seen it done in a godly way. So then when I got around a godly man, what was really a blessing for me was one of them, his name's Fred Moon. He told me, he said, listen, Dave, come to the house. He knew my brother, but my brother didn't go to church and nothing like that. But the church I went to, he was there. And he said, come to my house for a couple of weekends. And man, this dude was raising his family, loving one woman. And I'm like, oh, so it can be done.
Like that's sometimes we just got to know it's possible. Like we just got to see it. Exposure leads to expansion. As long as we get exposed to it, we're able to make those changes.
And it literally humbled me, man.
But that's why the blueprint's so necessary, because like people have to see this. They got to hear these conversations. They got to know that it's possible. It's particularly with your story, like just knowing where you came from and your background. Yet you didn't allow that to become your reality. And I think men got to know that that's possible. Like just because I didn't have a father doesn't mean I have to continue the pattern.
I think it's so huge because it can become an excuse.
It's an excuse every time.
And so I excuse myself because I ain't see it. That don't mean you can't become it. And I think that for me was the real challenge of, I know it's possible. God, show me how to do it. And I needed his grace. I need other men. I needed help. I need strength. I need my wife. I need all of it. All of it was necessary for me to be able to walk in where I am now. And I didn't realize that, you know what? The world taught me how to love a part of a woman, but not all parts of her.
Not all of it.
Come on. No, they just told you make love to her body, but don't know how to make love to her heart, her mind, her spirit, her thoughts, her gifts, her talents, and her purpose. Yeah. I'm supposed to make love to all of her, not parts of her.
Yeah.
And that was different. Yeah. That take a lot of work.
I think even speaking to that point, a lot of people limit protection and providing to like just physical aspects. But like I gotta be able to provide spiritual support. I gotta be able to protect her emotionally. Like it's just not just the physical aspect. So like you said, it's so many layers to being just a husband alone. I ain't even talking about fatherhood, just a husband alone. It's just so many layers to that. Then you add children, and I'm like,
bro. I so celebrate you, man, with the idea of just seeing that, and then being able to be. I think what happens is you got to be willing to be willing to do the work, like you said, on yourself, and I got to be willing to address the issues in my life, realizing what my gaps were, my strengths were, my weaknesses are, but also be willing to unlearn some stuff and learn what I need.
Yeah,
there was this guy. His name was Dr. Willie Richardson. Man, when I got introduced to him, it messed me up. This is the first African American male I ever seen like this. Man, this dude. We went to eat somewhere with him or something. This dude opened the door for his wife. Man, walked to the table, pulled out the chair. Took a shawl off of her, sat it down in the chair, dropped the napkin on her. I said, "What is that? what is that, manhood?" But I just had never seen it. how he covered her, how he protected her, how he nurtured her. I was like, man, this dude is doing some stuff. I gotta do it. But I think that's where that example comes in, like you said, and exposure comes from. And I gotta have trainers, I gotta have mentors, I gotta have coaches in my life. And they might be successful in different areas, but I can pull from these people and learn everything I can. And I think one of the great things that God does for us is he literally gives us the book of instructions.
Yeah.
I know some people don't believe it, but I believe that the Bible is a blueprint for life,
100%.
blueprint for relationships, finances, how to parent. I think it's a blueprint. And I think it's one we can take and we can build with. Help me out, man.
If I could add one more thing to that, because I
Sure.
know you got some more questions, but like I think another layer that speaks to like even being able to accept that is just humility, right? Like I think you could have seen those people and just been like, man, they whack. I ain't doing that, or they don't know as much as me. I'm gonna figure this out on my own. But the amount of humility that it takes to be able to say, no, they know more than me in this area. So let me get under him. Let me get under Mr. Moon and go to his house every week. You could have easily said, man, I'm gonna go home, watch the football game. I ain't spending time over there, Mr. Moon. You had the humility and the desire to be better. And I think that's something that we got to add to this conversation as well.
I think that's so major. Here's what I tell the guys. I learned that. I said, boys do I's, but men do T's. Men do responsibility, accountability, loyalty, and humility, and authority and unity. Wow. Men do T's, boys do I. It's just about me.
Hey, Pop, I gotta write. Make sure with this recorder, I gotta write this down. I'm gonna give you credit, though. I'm gonna give you credit, though. All
right. As long as I get credit. As long as I get credit, man. As long as I get credit. All right. But I think it's the difference in it. But if I don't know that I'm supposed to be doing these T things, I'll just make it all about me. And I'll end up messing up everybody come in contact with me. I didn't know they would took what security meant. I didn't know what intimacy was. I didn't know the idea what love was. I knew what lust was, but I didn't know what love was.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, man, unconditional love too? That means I got to love you in sin, through sin, and out of sin? Like you ain't never sinned? What is that? So it's like, and then because God gives it to us, but he's like, that ain't enough. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And then you got to keep giving it to the person you're married to and in relationship with. Oh, this is different.
That's a whole nother episode, Pop. That's a whole nother episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. It is. It is. All right, let me help you with this, man. Let me ask you a couple of things, man. One, when it came to relationships, man, when the idea of that piece, man, help me with this, man. What do you think the struggle is for guys is in that area?
I think there's multiple layers. Like again, like what we've been already talking about, exposure, humility. I think that's a big key. Like just being able to die to self every day.
Yeah.
But I think also too, like I would encourage men relationally to have vision for your household.
I love it.
That's a huge component that I believe. Like I saw a quote that says that submission is easy when safety is guaranteed. Like when women feel safe in knowing where we're going and knowing what the direction of our family household is going, I can get under you. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna do everything. But if you hit it with the I don't know, we're gonna figure it out. Or yeah, we just going with the motions, or we taking it one day at a time. Like you can't do that in marriage. Pops, correct me if I'm wrong. You can't do that in marriage. They not going for that.
No. You only can do so many I don't knows. All right.
I'm telling you, man. So I think we're intentional about vision, and there's another strong statement. I don't know if you could have vision without having Christ at the forefront, because now you're having your vision versus the vision that God has given you for your family. So that requires us to be submitted at his feet daily, because there's going to be direction, there's going to be changes, there's going to be modifications. Things might shift that you're going to have to be able to be ready to adapt and to communicate that and live it out for your family to follow.
I think that is huge, Keon, and I think that's why God tells us the idea that where there is no vision, people perish.
Yep.
And because I think the other side of that, one part of that second verse says, where there is no vision, people don't have discipline. So what happens is if as a man, if I get vision, I'll have discipline for where I'm going.
Yeah.
But men that don't have discipline are just people walking around headed for destruction.
Yeah, waking up. Look, they waking up at 11:30 in the afternoon, just chilling. They ain't sleeping there. They don't got nothing to do. No reason to wake up.
Come on, I don't even have purpose. I don't have none of that. And so I don't have anything that would make me do that. And then I think vision also brings conviction. There's some stuff I just can't do because I got vision.
Yeah.
This ain't even about burn. This ain't even about my kids. It's just because if I want to get where God wants me to get to, there's some conviction and some discipline and submission that I got to have in my life. And I think, and when men talk about that, because sometimes, like you said, some people don't think submission is for all of us. Submission is for everybody. And I think one of the greatest things that Jesus does is, how can he be the King of glory and he submits to becoming a baby? What can I submit to? He submits to a family. Mama said, "Get in this car, boy." I know he's. What about my father? Get in this car. He has to jump in the car. He has to submit to that family, and he submits to that family for 30 years before he does ministry.
He modeled it for us.
Come on, man. And then even with John the Baptist, he's like, I can't even do ministry if ain't nobody gonna license me. Come on. So he submits to everything, and he shows us that as men, we got. And then Paul picks it up and he says, "Submitting yourselves one to another," and it proves the fear of God. Yeah. And so I think that them not knowing what that is, it's a hupotasso word, and it means to fall in ranks in an army so you can get victory.
Wow.
Come on, man. So literally, there are days where Bern has to fall in rank with me so we can get victory. There's days that I got fall in rank, but she got the better wisdom or the better insight. But we do it in unity so we can have victory as a family.
Yeah.
But we have to learn that. And I have to unlearn that selfish, the pride, and all those kind of things that hinder us from that process. Because my attitude, my pride, and just past mindsets, got to undo them too, and work through all those kind of things. My next question is going to be this: is when it comes to that area of relationship, that's key. Then I think the other area I've been struggling is the ideal is this area of finances. When you think about this area of finance, what do you think about?
Oh man, I think it honestly ties along with vision, because I think when you know where you're going, there's going to be certain decisions that you're just going to have to make. I tell this story all the time. Me and Destiny, when we first got married, you know, Pops, you did a great job of setting a certain standard, right? That I just wanted to make sure I followed. So, you know, she lived a great life. So I wanted to make sure she got everything she wanted anytime she asked for something. But there was a conviction that God gave me, because there was a certain life that He wanted us to live. And in order for us to get there, sometimes you got to sacrifice in order to be able to live the life that
I don't think it's sometimes, Keon.
Yeah, I think it's just a part of the process, right? Like, and I think it shows wisdom and leadership and responsibility, that as a husband, you'll be able to look your wife in the face and say, "Hey, we can't purchase that today.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, we're going to have to stay down for these next 3 months in order to go on that vacation. We can't just spend frivolously and expect God to bless us. We got to reward it. We got to be faithful over a few before He can give us many." So I think a lot of that has to go down to vision. Like, when you know that God has given something, like, all right, for the first 2 years, we're going to stay in this place, but by year 3, we got to move out and have our own crib. So we got to live a certain lifestyle in order for us to prepare for that. But if you're not hearing from God, if you don't have the vision that's set in place for you to steward what He's giving you, I don't know if you're going to live a fruitful life.
I think that is so key, man. And I think what you're saying is so key. It does come back to vision, even financially, in the ideal of our world, because you don't have a reason to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You don't have a reason to be.
And that's what it comes down to, discipline.
Oh yeah, and it does. You got to have this stewardship mindset, and I think that's the other piece too. What am I storing this for? Yes, God's going to allow you to have money, but if He wants you to build it and do something with it, and then you have to have a purpose for the money. And I think that without a doubt, the ideal that many times, our culture struggles from. I want to call it ignorance, but I also want to call it a lack of stewardship. We just didn't train each other in the ideal. And sometimes we didn't pass it to the next generation. So every generation starts over rather than starting further.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other cultures around us, man, they like, look, when one pass, hey, when I go, you get the business. Hey, when I go, you get this. You get the stocks. You get the whatever. And it's like it's a passing down, but they don't have to start over. In our culture, so many generations had to start over rather than starting further. And they don't have the ideal of financial literacy. They don't have the ideal of coming together as a community. Those other cultures, they do that. Our culture has to learn really how to do that to be successful. And I think I know for me, I struggled with it because we came from the project, so we ain't had no money at first. So anyway, I'm just gonna be straight up. We ain't had nothing, so we couldn't. It wasn't about discipline. We just ain't had it. Right. But then watch this. I found out something that one of the great things that God did for Israel was this: when He brought them out of slavery, He stopped the miracles. And I was like, "Why did you do that?" I needed to teach you management. Shut up. Come on, man. The miracle stopped when you need. He said, "Listen, you was in miracles for 40 years, walking through the wilderness. Once you get out of the wilderness, management, baby, I no more miracles right now.
Yeah.
I need you to plant something, to grow something, to build something, to be fruitful, so that you can multiply, so that you can subdue. And if you don't do that, that's called management and stewardship. And I
Yeah.
think many times that in our lives, we got to make sure that we passing that on to generations around us once we do get it.
Yeah. We're not praying for something we already got. He gave you
Mm.
the money. You just not managing it right.
Come on, man. Come on. And I think that sometimes, and I don't get me wrong, and I know you know, I like stuff, but I like purpose better. All
Yeah.
right, I like comfort of my wife better, and like you said, that area financially is key to security also. Because once she knows I can trust him, look, he ain't gonna blow the check. He gonna pay the bills.
You'll
We
be
ain't
sick.
gonna wake up and be in the dark. Praise God.
Right. Right. Right.
She can have peace, but then you also can have unity and intimacy because of that. Because now she's at rest, she's at peace, she's in calm in her spirit, in her mind, because I can trust him.
Yeah. And I think honestly, Pasu, like, which is such a very taboo subject because money is just such a huge thing for men. Like, right, like we're just there's such a pressure for us to provide and make sure that we make sure everybody's taken care of.
Yeah.
I think, man, if I was share one lesson that I learned just from my own personal experience, I just wish I was a little more vulnerable with my wife. Because sometimes you just feel like, man, I'm embarrassed, or man, like there's certain things that come. There's some things that just come our way that we don't expect, like just
Come on.
unexpected bills or tires, like just car
Oh,
stuff, like all types of stuff. That
life.
just, life, man, life happens. And I just think I've learned over time. I'm still early in the game. I just learned over time how imperative it is for me to be vulnerable with her, letting her in, meeting weekly about our finances, making sure that she knows all of the moves that we're making, all the things that's happened. Because like sometimes I think some men just take that weight on ourselves,
Yeah.
and then it leads to just destruction and depression and just mental health issues and all sorts of things. So
I so agree with you, man. I can't, and I think that people they want intimacy physically, but do you have intimacy financially?
yeah, that's a huge component. That's a huge
That
component.
we know where the money is, we know what's going on, we know what's happening, so we can be at peace. Or we need to work on some stuff and we can focus on it. And I think that will bring us either together to do it or us together to build it. And I think having that ideal, and we had to learn that. I mean, the first couple of years of our marriage, Cal, it was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. We neither one of us knew how to handle that money, so we were blowing a bunch of it. All right, and then we embarrassed each other. One of us be at the store, the car wouldn't work. Oh man, it was shut up. It was terrible.
Hey, look at you now, though. Look at God. Look at
That's
God.
why I'm thankful. That's why but I want people to understand it's growth to this thing.
It takes it's a process.
You know what I'm saying? And so financially, you know what I mean? We did need to talk about it. We have to meet about it. We have to have our weekly meeting. We have to talk about what we're doing, where we're going, what's the plan for that. And we want to retire one day, or we want to, get a different car. We want to take care of the kids. We want to pay that tuition, whatever it is. We got to have these conversations so that we can be in unity, even in that area financially. And I think being able to get ourselves around right people that knew what saving was, investing was, what it was to be able to manage the bills and manage those things, and realizing that's just as spiritual as your prayer life.
Yeah. And I think you said where there's unity, there's always victory. And I think we hone in on that, knowing that when we're working together as a team, communicating, being vulnerable and sharing, there's always going to be victory. Even if however much money in our account, when we're together, we're going to make it work.
Yeah, and I think that what we need to learn is you can have unity whether you have it or not.
Exactly.
You can actually have intimacy whether you have it or not. Matter of fact, one of the second best, I think it's the second best event we had together. One was 30 year anniversary. We were celebrating, went to Hawaii. But the other one that actually is on the top of her list when I asked her was right before we got married. I lost my job, man. I lost my job. I was broke. We were 6 months out from the wedding. He was like, if I ain't got no job by the time the wedding come, we ain't get married. Right, man, and I got down. I bounced a $2 check, Keon. I straight up did. I bounced a $2 check, and then the next week was Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day came. She said, "What we gonna do?" And I said, "Well, I tell you what. You get dressed up. I'll let you know. I'm gonna surprise you." I was trying to get unemployment because I was hurt. I fell out on a route for the post office. She said, "We still going out for Valentine's?" I said, "Yes." I was just saying it by faith. Praise God. what I did was, the Lord gave me just this an idea. I went to the dollar store, bought some balloons, red and white. I had a sheet. I had one curtain that was upstairs, was in my closet. That one they never used. It was sheer. Brought it downstairs, swung it over top of the door, blew up the $1 balloons, put them over the door. So when I walked into my house, they would fall down when she walked in.
Wow.
Then my mama had dropped off some food the day before. You know what was Valentine's dinner? That food. All right. So
Look, put it on little plates, like
bruh, little plates, and I had 2 candles from the dollar store too.
wow.
And to this day, she'll say that's in the top 5. No matter, even though we've been to Bahamas, we've been to Turks and Caicos and all that kind of stuff. She says that's still in the top 5 because I know you didn't have it, but you created an event for unity and intimacy, even while we was in adversity.
Wow, that's a testimony right there.
Oh man. So I think as men, we can't. You know what? We are very creative in the chase, but we're not as creative after we caught her.
Yeah.
So we got to work on that, man. So I know the Bible teaches the ideal of making sure we understand stewardship, savings, investments, business, and then having that mindset of generational wealth. Making sure that I leave something after me that, not only do I they don't start over, my kids can start further, but also their kids can, because we got to leave an inheritance to somebody in the ideal of our life that also. So thank you for that. My next question is this. It's the ideal of what do you think of when you hear the term leadership?
Real quick before I go, can I just touch on just the generational wealth thing?
Sure.
I ain't gonna be long, but
No, you good.
I honor my dad. Like he was really big on creating space for me to like succeed, and my mom too, of course. But I just think they were really intentional about making sure, like when I graduated, I had somewhere to stay. Like I had, and you all do that extremely well. Also, like I just want to honor both of you all that because again, that's not something that's normalized in our communities.
Right.
But I think another thing that you all both had, my parents and you all as well, is that sometimes generationally, not just leaving wealth, but just like health, right? Like just health.
Come on.
Like just being able to model like love. Like that's a generational thing that we just got to while leaving. We're not just leaving stocks and houses. That's also like family meetings and make sure that we're leaving things that you've seen consistently. So I just wanted to touch on that because y'all both have done an amazing job.
No, I think that's huge. As a matter of fact, on my list actually is relationship, health, then finance.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's actually is the spiritual inheritance. Then is the relationship. Then it's the finances. Then it's the health. But all of them are that. If we leave in that, they can be the ideal of some of those healthy people around us, and so it can help us to do that. Help me with this area of leadership.
Gotcha. So leadership is something that is very dear to me, and I think that one of the things that I really try to hone in on, because I've been kind of thrown in leadership at an early age. Oh man, you got the pop, man, you doing it big, pops. Hey man, I gotta get your
I just needed them to understand the level of leadership you're walking in. But go ahead.
I gotta get your autograph after this, man. You doing it big, man. But no, I think there's so many layers to it. I think one of the models that I've seen probably done the best was Jesus, right? Like I just think he's just the model and blueprint of what leadership should look like. And I think the first thing is just humility. He was a servant leader. He wasn't worried about the title. He wasn't worried about ego. He wasn't worried about making sure everybody called him the savior. He just operated in his gift and was serving that God assigned to him. And I think that's just something that I try to do every single day. Yeah. I'm not throwing principle in nobody's face. I'm just trying. Look, I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to serve my community, scholars, staff, families, and be able to be a representation of what Jesus looked like years.
I think that is huge, Keon. And I celebrate you that you got it young. I mean that because most people don't get that till later on after they've been through a couple of things. And I think the key of it too is realizing that what I love about Jesus is that he had absolute power and never hurt nobody.
That's real though. That's real. Look, like, with a snap of a finger.
What am I saying? I'm like, I could call 12 Legion. I ain't gonna do it. I could. I ain't gonna do it. So it's not realizing that the only reason that we got the power is for others. The only reason we got the favors for others, the only reason we got the grace is really for everybody else connected to us.
Yeah.
And the idea of that leadership is powerful to me because it's the example of influence, impact, the ability that can build, expand, give exposure, experiences to somebody else, and then to help them get into their season sooner than we got in ours,
Yeah.
and to help them go further. And I
That's
think that's the challenge of it is I think our job as leaders is to create that hunger, create that future that you would want yours.
yeah.
That you know what I want to help you get there more than I actually want to get there even myself. And when it comes to that point, I think leadership shifts, and we can give them a clear picture of their future and show them even by our process, but also knowing that this is about doing it on purpose. And
Yeah.
not that we're gonna be perfect, we're gonna make mistakes, and even in that, we get to show leadership. We get to repent
Yeah. Yeah.
when we miss it. You
Yeah.
know, one of the great things I think what helped me was, and the Lord showed me early, showed me this, that when I missed it in my house, that's even as the head of the house, I might have missed it, and me and Byrne might have got into an intense fellowship. And so that's an argument for everybody else, but it's intense fellowship for us. So we get an intense fellowship, and if my octave went too high, we never cursed, we never called each other out names. We just had some guidelines we weren't going to do. But my octaves went way too high, and I had to come back. Even if I was right about the issue, I was wrong about my attitude.
Man, humility.
So man, so then the Lord's like, well, listen, brother, you want to fix this? You the leader right now.
Yeah, God coming to us. He ain't coming to us.
So my thing is with the fellas, I tell them, the lift that it takes for your house to be broke is the lift that you won't show up in leadership when it comes to repent.
Wow.
If you won't show, you don't have to go days without having to speak. You don't have to go a moment without speaking. You just have to be the first one to repent, and you show leadership in that humility. So I would come back, apologize. Hey, Byrne, I'm sorry. You know, I know we was talking, it got a little heated. I apologize for my attitude, for my volume. It was wrong. I apologize for that. Forgive me for that. And then, Keon, what I would do is go to my 2 and 3 year old kids. I know y'all just heard mommy and daddy intense. That was wrong.
Wow.
I went too loud. I was too high. I knew I had 4 girls in my house and a boy. And I wanted them to realize that we won't never be perfect, but we can make even the imperfect perfect.
Yeah, that's so good.
And we can fix it and we can restore it. And we don't have to mess up the whole house. We just have to be able to humble ourselves.
So good. I think that's one of my favorite things about you, honestly. I just really admire your humility. I mean, I've just seen that. And you know me probably now, I'm really an observant person. So like, I'm really always watching and taking notes, but like I've always admire your humility. And I think another aspect of your leadership that I admire was just the way that you celebrate others.
Wow.
We was at the birthday party and celebrating, your birthday recently.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one of the members of the church, everybody was kind of like sharing some words. Like, man, we love the fact that you always celebrate us. Like you would pull over the cars and make sure you scream our name and all those things. And I just think that's just such a critical element of leadership, right? Because I think sometimes as leaders, you can get so focused and honed in on yourself that you miss out on the people that you're really called to serve. And serving sometimes requires celebration. It sometimes requires accountability. It sometimes requires cultivating. And there's so many elements that we're required to do. But I think some people miss out on the celebrate, even in the small wins. That's so important.
Yeah.
Came to work on time for 2 weeks straight after you've been struggling. Man, I just want to celebrate you. You get $10 just to go to lunch. And like those little things as a leader makes all the difference. So I just want to honor you on that because that's
wow. Bless you, man of God. I'm gonna tell you why I learned it, man. I actually learned it from Pastor Byrne. Pastor, you know her. She was
she gonna make sure
everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody celebrated.
Biggest, precious you. I was like, well, why is everybody precious? But anyway, the idea was this: is that I saw her shift atmospheres by celebrating somebody. Yeah. I saw her give hope by celebrating somebody. And what I really think it is I see you.
Yeah, that's huge.
Some people are going through life unseen. And sometimes the first person that sees them gets them. And I mean gets their ability, their capability, their capacity, their gifts, their talents, their life, their strength, all because you seen me.
Yeah.
You acknowledge me or you affirm me. Mm-hmm. And in that place, some people have gone through life without ever being affirmed or confirmed or just celebrated. Yeah. But when somebody says it, they say, now you see my value. Somebody sees my worth.
Yeah.
And I think I tell people all the time, don't tell me who was over you. Tell me who's under you.
Yeah.
And tell me who you can get under, and tell me who you can celebrate. And my thing is, even for me, it's like whenever the church try to celebrate us, I intentionally try to find a reason to celebrate them, because I want them to know we're not in this by ourselves.
Yeah.
And it got to be all of us. And so I'm huge with my kids. You already know them birthdays got to be crazy. You're like, why are you coming in a room 6 o'clock in the morning singing birthday? Why? Because one day I won't be able to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've
And
always
the next
admired
day
that.
that I can, I want to remember that they were valued, and he valued and appreciated us, both our life, our purpose, our gifts, our talents, but even more our person.
Yeah.
And I think people work harder for people that remember who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
That's a
Hey, is your kid all right? I know you said he fell down yesterday. Something happened with them. Hey, you know what? How's your family? How the kids? This ain't even about what we're doing. This is about who you are.
yeah.
And when people can give you that value and worth as a person, whatever vision, mission I'm tied to, you got me.
Yeah. I think that's that's such an amazing point. I think that's something that a lot of leaders miss the mark on, if I'm
Mm,
honest,
mm,
because I just don't know if they look as the people that work with them as just employees or as actual people. And I
mm.
think that was something that I was really intentional about. And I think because like when I became principal, I was 25 years old. 98% of our staff was older than me.
Oh
So I
yeah.
wanted to make sure that I gained a certain level of respect with them. So the
Mhm.
first 3 months, I met with every teacher, both in the morning and afternoon, and I didn't say anything about the school. I
Yeah.
just learned who they were. I just learned about their name.
Yes.
I just want to know I'm always here. You can always text or call me, and I can honestly say I'm not the perfect principal, but I know they will run through a brick wall for me. They would
Yes,
do
sir.
anything. They stand overtime without getting paid. Like they would do whatever it takes for our school because they know that you care.
Wow. And that's it right there, Keon. I think when people know you care, I'm committed.
Yeah,
We want people to commit without caring. And
yeah,
it's like, well, why should I? Because, but I care about you as a person. I care about your life, your family, your children, what's going on with you. And even if I got to make a sacrifice that helps you before we get to where we're going, fine. But we on a journey together, and we got to get there together. So I think those are huge, and I think it's that piece about being an example, being nurturers, being empowerers of somebody else, being an encourager for somebody else. I want to be known for more of an encourager and empower other people than I even want to be known as a father.
yeah.
I want people. I want my kids to be empowered. I want everybody to come around me, leave better
Everybody.
than they met me. I want them to leave encouraged. I want to leave with faith. I want them to leave with hope. I want to leave with Jesus, man. I want them to know that, hey, man, God was hanging out of something, because I was mad when I came up, but something happened. I want
Mhm.
you to run into God. I want you to run into His presence. I want you to run into His love, so that you can run into His life. And so I thank you, man, so much for the day. Thank you for giving me this time, man. I appreciate it. I know you busy all over the place and all that kind of stuff. But I just appreciate you, man, for what you're doing and how you work it out. I also want to thank you guys for what you do. If y'all want to get in contact with this incredible man of God, you can go at Keon Hill, Keon D Hill on Instagram. You can go to Journey to the Hills, hit him on that. Keon Hill on Facebook, and stay in contact with him. Incredible man of God. I'm proud of him. I celebrate him and I love him. I'm going to tell you that right now. All
Love
right.
you too, man.
I thank you for who you are, and I thank you for making the impact. We were recently at an event, man, and your presence helped bring God's presence and purpose to the event.
That means the world. That
I
means the
mean,
world coming from you, for sure.
I don't know. I don't know. I know the other people. They may have influence, but they didn't have the substance you had.
That
And
means the
that
world.
substance is what changed lives and impacted men that night like never before. And I appreciate you, man. Thank God for you, for your family, for your dad, your mom, for everybody around you, Uncle Rick and all the family. So we just celebrate all of them. They've done an incredible job with you and in you. And the man that you are is phenomenal, man. So any way you got support or help, you got me already. So
Always.
so so that's always, that ain't gonna change. So with that, man, I want to say thank you again for the day. I appreciate you, man. And in any way, again, we can support or help or whatever we can do. We just thankful for what's happening. And we're going to be doing probably a couple more interviews down the road, because there's
Okay.
a lot more stuff we can get
Oh
into
yeah, we got so much we could talk through. Yeah.
and need to be talked to and talked about. So,
Yes.
man, thank you again for being with us, man. And we want to encourage our viewers and people on podcasts and everything. You just follow us. You can follow us a couple of different places on the Blueprint, at the Blueprint RFL, relationships, the ideal of leadership and finances. Then also at Dr. DB Mills on Instagram or Facebook page, the Blueprint. So you can follow us in those places. Follow us with that, and we appreciate you being with us. And brothers, I know you got this. Make sure you tie in with us. We do it three ways. One, the podcast. That's one level. The next level is we actually do an in-person empowerment every quarter around the region somewhere to build men up and bring in leaders and teachers and mentors and business owners to empower you and help you come to everything that God intended you to be. And so with those things, and then also those Facebook pages, both the Blueprint as well as TaylorMade, some of those other things, they could really bless your life. So we're going to say this. Listen, we keep on building. Thank you for helping to build today. I mean that. And today you help us build in an incredible way. So I thank God for you, and I appreciate you. We are building men for this generation and for the next one. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Love you for life, Pops. Talk to
Bless
you.
you, man.
All right.